What's good, everyone? Troy here, back with another interesting Naruto video. I'm joined with Six. Say what's up.
Yes, sir. Free Troy. Out of jail at last.
But today we're going to be going over who all in Naruto and Boruto have Shinjutsu. If you don't know, quick, backstory. Shinjutsu is recently introduced in chapter 75 or 74 of the Boruto manga. It's known as divine techniques in English. Basically, most of the Otsutsuki clan, that is what their techniques are labeled under, because as you know, ninjutsu was created by Hagoromo's children, Indra and Ashura, so they couldn't have possibly had that. The first person we know that has Shinjutsu is Shibai Otsutsuki. His Shinjutsu is pretty basic. He can create thunderstorms and gale winds or some shit.
There's nothing too special. It's like 10 Tails level stuff.
Yeah, about the same as the 10 Tails Cataclysm, but he does have two unique techniques that we know about. The first interesting ability he has is the ability to reflect anything based on the intent, but his palms do have to be touching you as like a prerequisite. And the second ability he has is the ability to see all since birth. So whenever point in time he was born in the universe, he's able to see all the events that happens. This is excluding the mindscape, but should be everything that happened in the physical realm.
Next person up, we got Ishiki. Obviously, Daikokutin Tsukune Ikana. The ability to shrink and the ability to store things inside of the dimension without time. Pretty simple to understand abilities. Don't really need an explanation beyond that. If you want some applications of them, obviously he uses them to fight with Naruto and Sasuke. And then now Kawaki's using them against Boruto and things like that.
These abilities do have drawbacks though. Like he can't shrink anything, at least with his dojutsu that's living. So like you transform into like a cup or something, you can't shrink you. Can't shrink humans, but he could shrink jutsu and sage jutsu. Whether or not nature chakra matters, if you were wondering, that doesn't really matter. He still shrinks Naruto's Rasengans and Sasuke's Chidoris, right? And he also can shrink like a Amaterasu and shit like that. People can be stored in a dimension where time doesn't flow, but he can't shrink them to storm in that dimension. He has to create a portal. That's pretty much it for his abilities though, like Six said. Next person is Daemon. Daemon has the same ability as Shibai, excluding the see all things in the world ability. He has to, if he's touching you with his palm, it reflects all intent to kill. This ability is expanded or heightened by how much intent to kill you have.
We see this get used whenever Damon is first awakened inside of Boro's hideout, whenever Code gets him, obviously. He reflects every one of the little minions' attacks back onto them. The ones with particularly strong killing intent, we obviously see their attacks get reflected before they even start to come off, like the guy with the axe. Yeah, next one is Ada's ability. We did get some clarification. Ada's ability to charm everyone is not a Shinjutsu, but her clairvoyance ability is most certainly a Shinjutsu. Momoshiki confirms as such. Then we have Kawaki, kind of with the Ishiki abilities that we mentioned earlier.
Think of Kawuki as like a kind of baby Ishiki. He also has, I don't think we mentioned karma. Ishiki is able to implant karma. Kawuki should be able to as well if he becomes like 100% Otsutsuki like Boruto, but that remains to be seen. The next person we have is Code. Now Code's Shinjutsu is mainly just his claw marks, but he can use these in more ways than we thought previously. He can use these to instantly traverse, whether it be dimension, if he already has a claw mark in that dimension, or if it's just like along a tree, he can teleport different body parts there. He can also use it to morph living things. His Shinjutsu may be basic, but it's used in kind of interesting ways, I guess.
Momoshiki's the next one. Obviously, all of his abilities should be Shinjutsu as well. Like Troy gave the argument earlier, he was not on the planet when ninjutsu was created, so obviously all of his abilities should not be ninjutsu.
Momoshiki's Shinjutsu seems to be him creating like these mythical creatures out of what's already present, like these natural elements. He has this fire phoenix, which is another mythical creature made out of fire, and he also has these wood dragon raccoon type things that he summons to try to bite Sasuke. Next we have Kenshiki. His Shinjutsu is literally only creating these red weaponry, like he can create axes, swords, brass knuckles. His is the most basic out of the bunch and it doesn't even seem to have that many uses.
Then we got Boruto up here. Boruto is just said to, by Kawaki anyway, to be able to create his own karma.
But Boruto mainly just uses ninjutsu, which kind of fits with his character, you know. He's trying to hold on to the Shinobi way. Kawaki's trying to end it. The next one, people were kind of distant on saying if she had Shinjutsu or not because she was in Naruto and Naruto only, but we have Kaguya. Now, I'll give my reasoning of why I think she has Shinjutsu. I think all of her techniques are Shinjutsu, based just on ninjutsu wasn't created while she was alive. So it's like, how can she have this concept that didn't exist where she was from? So her ETSO, Ash Bone Disintegration Technique, God Fist Technique, and the weather manipulation she does, all should be part of her Shinjutsu.
Now we got Sasuke. He's got one, and it's a maybe at that. And the only reason he's up here is because Troy dick rides him. I don't think this is a Shinjutsu. I think it's a ninjutsu. This is purely Troy's choice, and obviously it's Amino Tejikara.
Yeah, the ability to swap places with anything that he can see. In the anime, he can like just move Kaguya or Madara wherever he wants them to go, just with a single glance. This technique doesn't make a return, probably because he doesn't have any uses for it, but he can swap places with different things. And maybe you can say his portal creation is Shinjutsu as well, since that seems to be like an Otsutsuki technique that doesn't require the Rinnegan, but his Rinnegan allows him to access it. Maybe you'll say it's a Dojutsu, maybe it's a Shinjutsu. We don't really know.
So going back to Kaguya for a little bit, the reason we say she probably has Shinjutsu, even though in the data book it's labeled as ninjutsu, is because, well, obviously the concept of Shinjutsu wasn't around yet. That doesn't come around until Boruto chapter 75. This is around Naruto chapter like 691 and before. That's what data book 4 covers up to. So it's not accounting for any information presented after that. Shinjutsu is literally just not a thing in this data book. But Kaguya, like Hagoromo and Hamura and all the other Otsutsuki, wasn't on Earth whenever ninjutsu was created. So her having it doesn't really make sense. What she's doing is more so just a manipulation of chakra. The data book also does clarify that Kaguya has a free use of her chakra, which sort of fits the description of what Shinjutsu is. So it seems more like in the future we're gonna get like a kind of a retconny thing on this ninjutsu Kaguya aspect, rather than her actually having a ninjutsu. It seems like she's gonna be Shinjutsu in the future.
I'm hoping if Boruto does get data books or anything of that sort, some similar synonymous type, document to document all the power and abilities thus far in the series. I'm hoping they do label her techniques as Shinjutsu. That would be a bit of added lore, kind of expand the world of Naruto. The next character we have is Toneri. Toneri, for the same reasons as like Kaguya or like Momoshiki, they weren't on Earth to experience ninjutsu. He probably has Shinjutsu as well. These green balls that he uses to mind hex and manipulate Hinata into marrying him, they're also, you can fire like Ki Blast-esque abilities and also remove Naruto's chakra completely. Those would probably be Shinjutsu. All of his other techniques would be more in line with Dojutsu, as they're from the Tensegan. The Hamura statue controlling may also be Shinjutsu, maybe like a controlling type Shinjutsu ability, but we don't know. Next on the list, he's kind of an anime only. His name is Urashiki, everyone's least favorite Otsutsuki. But literally all of his techniques should be Shinjutsu. He has kind of a red weapon creation, the same as Kenshiki, but his is a fishing rod. His fishing rod allows him to take chakra, whether this is dormant sage chakra or your normal chakra supply, doesn't matter. Once he takes this chakra, he then has access to all of your abilities. Like once he takes Mitsuki Sage mode, he can now amp himself with those Sage abilities. He takes Sasuke's chakra and he can now use lightning style and fire style. Another Shinjutsu ability he has is the ability to eat his eyes and transform. This is a different transformation from what we've seen from every other Otsutsuki. Most Otsutsukis undergo like maybe a Dojutsu transformation, which he has 4 of, or like Momoshiki, they eat their partner in order to become a enhanced genetic updated Otsutsuki. He just straight up rips his own eyes out and eats them. In this state, he kind of combines with his fishing rod and he can now eat abilities. If you throw chakra at him, he can absorb it through his mouth. He can now release these Ki Blast-esque techniques just like Momoshiki and Ishiki. And he can also release like this snake kind of technique and see future somehow because he sees Boruto's future in anime a little bit. He probably has the most Shinjutsu out of everyone here, given how all of his techniques are. I kind of want to go over all the Shinjutsu briefly that every Otsutsuki should share. They all should have portal creation, and most should have beam creation. Urashiki, Ishiki, and Momoshiki, to be exact, all can shoot red beams, distinct red beams. So I'm kind of thinking that's maybe just a Shinjutsu basic ability that all of them share. Kaguya and Kenshiki have never shown these abilities, but I wouldn't doubt them having these abilities. That's all that has to be said during this video. It was just a brief explanation on all the Shinjutsu we've seen thus far. 6, any closing statements?
No, I gotta go talk to my grandma. Catch y'all later.
Goodbye.